Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Moving Markets Podcast. It is Tuesday, November the 11th, 2025. Before I get too far into what I want to talk about today, happy Veterans Day today to everyone who has served in the U.S. Armed Forces for any amount of time at any level. Happy Veterans Day, especially to those who served in wartime and even if you came out of it unscathed physically, it's an emotional, it's a psychological toll. Your sacrifice is so greatly appreciated. Special shout out to my son-in-law, who recently joined the Army Reserves. He's a medical resident, and very proud of him for doing that. So want to start out with that before anything else. So let's jump in to specifically what we've got going on today. I'm going to switch screens here real quickly. So the stock market has been closed. It's 2:12 p.m. Mountain Time. The stock market has been closed for just about 12 minutes. Got to tell you, I, for one, am surprised with what the Dow Jones Industrial Average managed to pull off today. I mean, that is a big move to the upside, especially considering that the Dow, I think, started a little bit to the downside. The S&P had a nice comeback as well. NASDAQ came back way off of its session lows. So by the time all was said and done, it really didn't finish too badly. I wouldn't call it a horrible day, only being down 58 points, a quarter of a percent. That's really not a horrible thing. And I'll pull up the NASDAQ one-day chart here. It was a lot worse at one point in time today. In the earlier part of the trading day, it was pretty ugly. It went down in that first, let's say, hour, maybe 45 minutes that the markets were open, hour and a half maybe. Wobbled a little bit, and then it made a pretty good recovery and kind of sat in this area for those last couple hours of trading, and really, like I said, ended up not being too bad a day at all. It really really proved nominal as far as the day went. You can see if I backtrack here a little bit and do the one-day chart on the Dow. Pretty incredible. It started to the low side, got some early momentum, and just took off. There was just no stop in this thing. It just kept going, kept going, kept going. Ended up finishing very close to the high of the day. And if we take that now and look at it from the perspective of the daily chart. You can see here that the Dow Jones, there's a look at the Dow. I mean, it's almost up to all-time highs, which is where it was a couple of weeks ago before that one really ugly week of sell-off. In fact, I believe today may have been an all-time high finish for the Dow. This might have been a new record close for the Dow. And then, of course, the S&P had a decent day and a climb back up, far away from, well, not real far away, but a little ways away from an all-time high or a record high close. But then the NASDAQ had such a monster day yesterday. It giving back 58 points today, not something I'm really worked up about or upset about. I am a little bit I don't want to say upset, a little bit frustrated with the negative move on Marvell. But if you notice here on Marvell, it came right down and touched the 20-day moving average and then bounced off the session low a little bit. Didn't start out real horrible today, but got kind of ugly. I think tomorrow it'll rebound. I don't think anything happened today that's really going to break this overall trend that you see right here of Marvell moving to the upside. I'm not too worried about that completely disappearing. I think tomorrow will probably be an update, unless the whole market is struggling, and you never know when something like that might happen. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. The Dow Jones Industrial Average today was helped out, I believe, Got it on another screen here. It won't be on your screen, but I'm looking off camera to another screen here. Amgen was way up. Goldman Sachs had a really big day, not as big from a percentage standpoint, but because Goldman is by far the heaviest weighted stock in the Dow, a really big day by Goldman was incredibly helpful. Home Depot, Microsoft, which is also very heavily weighted. I believe Microsoft, the third heaviest weighted stock in the Dow. And if you look at the maybe 10 heaviest weighted stocks in the Dow, only Caterpillar was down a little bit today. So that's where a lot of that movement in the Dow came from, is those heavier weighted stocks having really big days. Nvidia had an off day today. Um, I think profit taking as much as anything else. I don't know that there was a real, I don't know if there's any reason to be really concerned about Nvidia. I'm not. Um, I think today was kind of a one-off. Nvidia had a good day yesterday after a really horrible week last week, and you can see it right here. After a really horrible week last week, Nvidia rebounded on Friday to get barely positive. Had a big day up yesterday, gave back a little bit today. Not too worried about it. I don't think there's anything that we need to be concerned about with Nvidia. By and large, our trades are looking really good right now. I think we're in really excellent condition moving forward. The one thing I do need to point out on the collar trade side of things, Coreweave way down today, and I mean way down. But our long puts are in the money. Between our long puts and our short calls, I think we're making dollar for dollar what the stock is losing today, and this is going to give us such a great opportunity to add more shares on Coreweave. Um, Coreweave has they took a hit on an earnings announcement last night, and I'm a little bit ticked because the sites that I go to on a regular basis, I'm a little bit ticked at myself. The sites that I go to on a regular basis, none of them showed that Coreweave was reporting yesterday after the market closed. Kind of upsets me that I didn't have that information. But I should have gone to Coreweave's investor relations website, and I'm kicking myself a little bit for not doing that. But they took a pretty good size hit. But the reality is, Coreweave was already trending down. And I think a lot of people right in this area, right in this $80 a share area, they finished above that by a fair amount, almost at $90 a share. But right in that $80 share area, or maybe maybe in that 85, $86 a share area. I think if they hit that, um, there's going to be a lot of people wanting to buy on Coreweave, and I would count myself as one of those. I don't see Coreweave going a lot farther down than that, and I don't know that it's out of the question over the next, I would say, year that Coreweave makes a run back up towards their all-time high, which was up around, I think, close to $190 a share. I don't think that's going to come overnight. I think they're going to have to go through another earnings report. I think they're going to have another quarter where they show things are getting better. Their overall report was pretty good. They lowered their guidance a little bit and talked about 1 out of 32 or 33 data centers that was behind schedule, and that really spooked investors. But keep in mind, investors have already been spooked for the last couple of weeks on the other broader issues, not just specific to Coreweave. So it just added a little fuel to that fire. As soon as Coreweave starts to bounce, we're gonna roll long puts. We're gonna add shares to this position, and I'm kind of excited to be able to add more to Coreweave. So we'll see how that all works out for us. Everything else looking pretty good. I mean, granted, a couple of our newest trades that we're in definitely down a little bit. Nvidia's down a little bit. Amazon down a little bit. Palantir is actually positive, but I'm not worried about these. The spider trade is almost up to 15%. I want to let that one run a little bit longer because I think the S&P 500. I really think by the end of this calendar year, and that's approximately my expectation of staying in the S&P, the SPY trade we have for the S&P is to the end of the year. And I think we're going to end the year up here in this neighborhood of 7,000 on the S&P, and that's going to make our trade 30-40% profitable and just make it a phenomenal thing. So all in all, looking really good. Only a little bit of concern is Marvell. If Marvell starts to the downside tomorrow and doesn't rebound, which is what I think it will do, we'll make an adjustment to that trade or just bail out of the trade. I will not stay in the Marvell trade at the risk of losing a bunch of money on it. We've got the other two trades that we opened at the beginning of this week are doing fantastic. So we won't risk something on Marvell if it's not going our way. So I think we're in good shape all around. Collar trade's looking fantastic. Our spread trade portfolio is phenomenal this year. Our triple play trade is approaching 200% return on the year. I'm feeling great about everything right now, in spite of the fact that the NASDAQ was down a little bit today. I will be back on with a recording podcast for tomorrow. In the meantime, have a great rest of your Tuesday, and we'll hope for an up NASDAQ tomorrow to kind of make up for some of those trades that are a little bit down today. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.